Working with kids is the most rewarding, exhausting, and unpredictable job on the planet.
And we are so here for all of it. Welcome, everyone, to Adventure Nannies on Air.
This is the place where we get into the conversations that are really on the minds of incredible nannies and families day in and day out.
I'm Shenandoah.
And I'm Reagan. And we're here from the team at Adventure Nannies, a nationwide agency that helps progressive, globally minded families find the talented, passionate nannies, educators, and newborn care specialists to join them on all their adventures.
We're tackling everything from the big stuff like how to navigate conversations about legal pay to the fun stuff like our go-to hacks for making travel with kids feel like a total breeze.
Along the way, we'll hear stories and learn from incredible guests, both in and outside the nanny industry.
Whether you're a parent, a nanny, or a lost person on the internet, we're glad you're here with us. Let's get into it. Before we get started, just a quick note. The views you're going to hear today are the personal opinions of our guests and don't necessarily represent the official views of Adventure Nannies.
And a heads up for anyone with little ones nearby, we can get a little passionate, which means some salty language might pop up. You might want to grab your headphones for this one.
Hi, everybody. We have a very special episode of Adventure Nannies on Air today. That is a conversation that our fabulous marketing director, Reagan, had pretty recently. Today, we're going to be talking about grief and loss. It has been an incredibly difficult year so far, and I know as nannies, you often end up helping families, and especially the kiddos in your care, transition through grief and sometimes learn about grief and loss and death for the first time, and that you also have to balance your work life with your own experiences of grief and loss in your personal life and find the right way to show up to your job while still navigating all of that and deciding how much you're going to share with your nanny family or what's appropriate or what's professional. And every family will have their own boundaries around that. And each one of you will have their own boundaries around that. I'm going to pass the mic over to Reagan to tell us a little story about how this episode came to be. Enjoy.
A couple months ago, I got an email from Jenny's team asking if we were interested in having on the podcast. I thought it was such a cool topic as I was reading through, and about halfway through the email, I saw this name of a band that supposedly Jenny's husband is the lead singer of, and all of a sudden I was transported back to like 2008, 2009, and one of my favorite bands, We the Kings. This job here at Adventure Nannies has taken me on so many incredible journeys. But this is one of the coolest emails that I've ever gotten. And so I was so excited. And I really could not have anticipated how important and special this episode would end up being to me. Exactly 2 weeks ago, as I record this, I got to have a conversation with Jenny and Travis, and you'll get to hear that conversation in just a minute. And it was beautiful and, so much insight on grief and healing and processing death, both with children and ourselves as adults. And 3 days later, after we recorded that episode, my own grandmother passed away. I cannot express how serendipitous this recording was and how much it helped me be prepared for that moment. I got that phone call because the words that Jenny shared with me and Travis shared with me and the things we talked about have really already helped me to be able to see my grandmother's death in a much more hopeful and healing way. So I really just wanted to share that story and share that I hope that everyone listening to this episode also gets something from it. And whether you know it or not, take the lessons that are learned here with you. And please read the book. It's so beautiful. Just thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Travis, for unknowingly helping me through my own grief. This episode is dedicated to Gigi, Jenny's mom, and to my grandmother, Bridget Katherine Tierney. I love you, Grandma Bridget. Vuela loca, forever your wild woman. I'm so excited here today to have our incredible guest, Jenny Robinson. And I'm going to have a little bit of a fangirl moment in my intro. When I first got the email from Jenny's team, I was reading through it and I was like, oh, this sounds like a really, really cool book. I'd love to bring this author on. And then I got to this part of the intro where it talked about a song related to the book, and we'll get more into this, and then her husband wrote the song, and her husband is the lead singer of this band, We the Kings. And we just had a little chat before we started recording and said something about, we're not the Jonas Brothers, or we're not. I have to say, for me, We the Kings was the Jonas Brothers when I was in high school and junior high.
Oh, man, I love that.
I was a huge fan, and so, so happy to not only have Jenny, we're going to talk about her incredible book, but also her husband, Travis, on with us. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you. It's such a small world, right?
What is I love it. I know, right? I instantly had flashbacks when I was reading the email, oh my gosh. And now I've been spending the weeks since introducing my 8-year-old son to the music. And we've been jamming to some, I will say I'm a little outdated on the newer albums. I love them now that I've listened to them. But I had to go throwback some
it's funny how music can do that. And same with books too. You can read a book that you really connected with, in your childhood even, or, in early adult life or whatever. Or you can hear a song and it can really put you right back in that moment of when you heard that song, or who you were with, or the smells you were smelling. It's really beautiful how music can do that, and how books can do that, just like lyrics and poems and authorship. It's such a cool creative art that is almost like a time machine in ways.
Absolutely. And that is such a just beautiful poetic introduction into the topic of the book too. Because it's kind of what it's all about, right? If there's a moment. So, Jenny, will you give us just a little brief intro to what the book is about in your own words, and a little bit about the story?
Sure. I mean, this book to me, so much. There's been so many synchronicities that have brought this book to fruition. But my mom passed away in 2018, and as a little girl, I was deathly afraid of dying. I would sit in my room and just think about blackness and darkness, and I would cry. I remember specific moments of just being in the car with my mom and dad and crying, looking out the window, thinking there was nothing after we passed. And so that really stuck with me for so many years, and, instilled this fear in me that did not serve me in any way. And so, once I actually had to face death, my grandma passed first, actually, a couple years before my mom. And, I decided in that moment to show up and face it, right? A lot of parents also tell their kids not to come to the funeral because they're nervous about how it's going to affect them. And so when my grandma passed, I was in my 20s, and I was like, no, I was in California. I was like, I'm going to fly to Georgia, and I'm going to be there and be present. And, I think that actually was the moment that I was like, okay, death, it does not have to be this thing that I've created in my head. And I was so grateful for that moment, because obviously, my mom was sick and she was passing, and we knew that. And so it helped me, I think, in that sense. But a couple of years after she passed, I had this beautiful message sent to me, and I know it was from my mom, telling me that, everything is going to be okay. I'm still with you. I'm right here. And it was these beautiful words that just kept flowing through me. And so in the morning, I showed Travis, and he turned them into this beautiful song. But it was such a big moment in my healing with the fear of around death and dying. And so, we had this beautiful song that Travis wrote, which, when he showed me, I was bawling on the couch. Just more healing was being done throughout my body. I didn't even know.
Be seen and loved, right? Wow.
Dragonflies, they hover by, waiting till I catch their eye. Rainbows form without a storm, showing up now as I mourn. Are you here? Are you here?
my gosh, when he came down and just sat on the couch with me and said, I turned this into a song for you, I was blown away. And obviously, yeah, the waterworks were just going for days. I was crying for days. I didn't even know I had this inside of me, because grief is so funny too, right? It's not all over the place. It comes and goes. And so I didn't know that I needed the healing, but I needed the healing.
And this is years after her mom had passed. So this wasn't, it wasn't like, initial 1 year of just like that immediate grief. That had kind of, like she said, it kind of not fizzled out. That's kind of the wrong word, because you're always remembering. But like,
it wanes and it comes and goes in waves.
Yeah, and with the song, that just, in a healing way, just really brought out this beautiful healing that she probably was like, I've gone through it. Like, I've gone through the thing. Yeah, it's not linear and things like that, but the brunt of it, like the heavy, the heaviest that it could be.
It always happens when you
gone.
least expect
Yeah.
it, right? Like,
Yes.
expected. I'm like, because I was so connected with God and everything in that moment of my life that, wow, it was just a beautiful time. And we sat on this song for a year, and I just kept going back to, I would be doing a disservice to humanity if I didn't try and do something with this. And so one morning I had a thought of, what if I turned it into a children's book, because of my, experience with death as a kid and how it did not serve me. And I don't want that for my kids. Like, I would hate for them to live that way that I lived. So I was like, what if I turned it into a children's book? And so I just put it on my voice memo, just read it out loud to see like what it would sound like. And I brought my kids in, and I'm like, do you think I could turn this into a children's book? They said, yes. Oh my gosh, that would be awesome, Mommy. And so I was like, okay, that's what we're going to do. And then, synchronicities again. And here it is. It's a beautiful book that I really hope can be a tool for families that I wish I had when I was a child. And now
100%. I mean, so my son is 8, and I feel like, as you were just telling the story of, your mother, my grandfather passed to 2019. So in the similar time frame, and I myself have gone through similar waves. And even just reading the book, I cried when I read, because I'm like sitting there and like crying over my grandfather and, the people in my life. And it's so beautiful. And it's so, it is, and because it's so, you did such a beautiful job, really. And this is such a hard thing when people write such personal stories. I think, it is so personal, obviously, to you, but it is relatable to anyone reading it.
I hope so.
So
hope instead of heartbreak, right? Like, I know it brought up emotion, but that was,
oh yes, 1,000%. Yeah, that is exactly. It was like the most healing, beautiful. Like, I can't wait to read it with my son. I've been holding it in my office hostage. And then what I do with books is I send them on to his school and donate them to the classroom. So it's going to go into the public school system and go be passed around there afterwards.
Oh my God, that's literally Jenny's dream, is to be in these grief communities, these schools, these hospitals, to be used as a tool, hey, if this can help in any way possible, please let it help. She'll gift you the book, she just wants people to have a different, perspective of death.
Yeah,
doesn't lead to trauma later in the future when we all realize that death does come for everybody. It's
that's why I was so excited when I read it. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get this to the classroom. There's so many, we actually live in a pretty underserved community, and there are a lot of kids dealing with grief and and honestly, like, it's so beautiful that, even outside of death, separation and even just relationships, whether it's moving, whether it's what's happening today with separations of families, unfortunately, or whether it's, I was thinking, I was like, I'm going to make sure my son reads this when I'm in the Philippines in the coming weeks. I'm going to be gone for 10 days. Like, even that, like, I'm still there, baby. Like, it's such a relatable and such a moving and hopeful story.
Thank you for saying that, because I do feel like it could be that too, right? Like, I wrote it out of my own grief, but also, right, if a friend moves away and you miss them terribly and you're like, oh, but here's a little butterfly coming to say hi, it must be them from Colorado, telling me that they're still here with me.
Yeah, there's you can very much, I think, grieve a person that's not with you at that moment, that hasn't passed.
Yes.
Especially kids with their parents, like that's their first true love.
Yeah.
When they're separated, you have that. But something that came to me when Jenny was talking, and I really think that this is probably a beautiful thing that we should probably keep saying, because every time that we talk about the book, and that people read the book, it does bring a lot of emotions, but there's like this beauty, there's this element that leaves you feeling like uplifting and happy. And I think it's the difference. A good analogy is like when people pass, they have either a funeral or a celebration of life. And I want this book, and I know that you do too, because we've talked about it so much, but I don't want people to read this book like they're at a funeral. I want people to read this book like they're at a celebration of life, that it's opening their minds and to see just the beauty around everything and not the sadness. It's okay to sit with your sadness, but not to live in it. So just wanted to say
that's incredible. That's sit with your sadness, but not to live in it. That's incredible.
I wonder if it's a cultural thing, I don't know. Just growing up, like maybe it was a generational thing too. Like I know that they were trying to protect me. My parents were trying to protect me, but really it was actually doing the opposite. But I know that they were doing the best that they could with the knowledge that they had. And so it's an evolution of learning about grief and death and how we can change in our definition around it, because
you said it's a cultural thing. It's crazy. When I was in last spring, I was in Paris for the first time, and my big thing is I wanted to go see all the graves of all of the artists and people in Paris. That was like we went to Montmartre Cemetery, and walking around Montmartre Cemetery, I looked at my boss, actually, was with me, and said, this doesn't feel scary like it does in cemeteries at home. Like, how like when you go to a cemetery, there's something off. It's dark. Yeah, it's dark. And when we talked about it, and I kind of dug into it, like, okay, and the Parisian people and really French people really revere death and don't see it as something scary and see it as part. And I was like, and it was and that just like honoring the dead and that they are still here, like. That just was so beautiful. So I think you're so right. It's a cultural thing.
Yeah, and in Mexico, like you just mentioned, like the Day of the Dead is the most colorful, loud music, just beauty, and it's celebrating their ancestors. And we're all gonna pass, but like when I pass, like I want to be like celebrated. I don't want to be looking down from heaven and just see that I just made a bunch of people so sad. Like that would break my heart, but like to see, and I know that happens, and it's okay again to be sad that you're not physically with that person, but seeing the other cultures and how they experience death, a lot of the native tribes, it's a beautiful, loud celebration, and they know in their hearts that those people that passed are reunited with all of their loved ones and all of their ancestors, and they believe it to their core. And it's romantic in a lot of ways. You're never taught as a kid that death is romantic. You're never taught that death is a celebration. Graveyards, for example, Hollywood has made them this place of fear and thriller or horror because of how they portray graveyards. But then you see this sweet person with flowers sitting, just talking to their loved one. It's like, well, man, that's like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So yeah, it's shifting that perspective is a really, I think, important task that you maybe unknowingly have taken on. And I have so much faith that you can help people. I really do.
I always try and catch myself when I say I lost my mom, because I didn't lose her. I know exactly where she is, so everybody's saying I lost this person and it's so sad, but you again, change the definition of grief into not being someone that's lost, but someone that's just really right here, not physically anymore, but, you know, like they're just in another room and we can still talk to them and honor them and speak to them.
And also like a synonym of lost is disconnected, you know, and when somebody passes, a lot of times you can, you know, you feel like, boom, you're cut off, you're disconnected. But that doesn't have to be true. How many times
there's a thread
you
always.
thought about somebody and they call you on the phone? And how many times have you seen somebody and you're just, I was just thinking about you, or all this. We are connected so much deeper.
I had a friend text me 2 minutes after my son was born, had me talk to me for like we talked every day. Hadn't spoken for a few days. She knew I was like, you know, in labor kind of, but like was keeping distance. 2 minutes after he was born, she texted
How beautiful that. That's so
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That chills because, and from the other side, they want us to live our life and to be happy and joyful. And, you know, I was gifted this book called Maybe by Kobe Yamada. It's a really beautiful book.
Oh, I've seen that one. That is gorgeous. Yeah.
A big inspiration of my book, but I met this woman who gifted me this and I thought it was for my kid. And so I brought it home to read to them, but going through it, anyway, this is another story and it's very long, but I had asked for a sign of an owl. And when I was reading this book, there's owls all throughout this book and I have an owl hat on and it's a story about the endless potential in all of us. And it's, you know, my mom telling me like, don't sit in your sadness of the grief. There's God placed something in your heart, you know, God placed something in your heart and he wants you to share it with the world. And, you know, that was a couple days before I got the message for Are You Here? And so I really believe that they really want us to just be happy and they're guiding us and they're with us always. And that's the message really that I want to portray to anyone that, you know, picks up the book and reads it.
Yeah.
I think you did such a beautiful job of that. And I want to ask you about the illustrator because the visuals in it really reflect that. Like it is so beautiful. Is what you're talking about, like inventory. I'll show some the screen so we do the video, but like the flowers and just like there's nothing dark about it. Even when she's in the forest, and she's you know coming across, it's beautiful and it's light. And the sun and the owl, you know, you said the owl. I see the owl in here. So I want to turn off my blur so you can see which I'm looking at.
Cinematics on.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah. So like, it's light in the middle. Oh, it's so beautiful, and the colors and the leaves. You know, the visuals aren't dark and scary when talking about. Even when she is scared, and she, you know, not scared, but when she's looking, even within, you know, the darkest parts, there's light around her and joy, and she sees the hope in it.
I had so many visions on these illustrations and, you know, she brought them to life. You should see my sketchbook of what I, you know, envisioned for the book.
She had this little like owl thing that I had given her. It was like a kind of like a journal, like a daily, you know, journal that you put next to your bed, and it's a beautiful owl. And she is an artist.
Trying my best to draw.
She's an artist as far as an authorship, but like, you know, none of us are very good at drawing, myself included. And she made the most beautiful like, little things, and like, you know, they weren't to scale, and one eye's bigger than but they were beautiful. They were so beautiful. And then to see, so the illustrator Elizabeth Fantone is such a good friend of Jenny's, and when Jenny had these kind of like mocked up versions of these illustrations that she could see in her book, obviously, you know, in her head she has this vision that physically she can't draw that, but she sees it. So I imagine that giving that to somebody is something that you have to trust highly in them to bring to life.
Yeah, I always knew in my heart that she was going to be the illustrator. We met on a commercial shoot in Miami for Rooms to Go.
When was that? That was
2019, 2020. And so when this idea came to me, I knew in my heart that I wanted to ask her, but I knew that she had been going through some challenging moments with a preemie. And so I wasn't sure if she had the capacity to do it, but I still asked her, and she said, yes, she would love to. She had lost her dad 6 months prior to the illustration. So this, I think, if she was on the call with us, but she would say that it was so healing for her and that she had so many dreams and visions of her dad during this process. And
she also
helping
was
her.
very like-minded with Jenny. Like it wasn't, she was sad, but didn't want to sit in the sadness. She wanted to celebrate her father.
And the signs that he sends her
Mm.
all the
Oh.
time. So I'm so grateful.
It really
for
was a
this.
match made in heaven for you guys to get together and to put together. Obviously, I'm biased. I will preface always by saying I'm biased, but
No, my mom was
I think
guiding
it's
this
the
whole
most
thing.
beautiful thing.
Like all the synchronicities that, like, I know my mom was in. And that's why it was so divinely guided that I have this knowing in my heart that it's going to reach the people that it's supposed to reach, and I think it'll be through word of mouth and people, that maybe are touched by it, gifting it to someone that they know could be hurting or going through something similar. And so that's, I just have this knowing, that it's going to be something that can really help.
100%. And that's what I'm super excited, because a lot of our audience is nannies. And so some of them don't even have their own children, but, I've even spoken to nannies who nanny for children who have lost parents, so folks like that, like there are so many ways. And so I would love to hear a little bit about how is this experience with grief and like as parents, because how many kids do you guys have?
4. Yes.
4. As parents, how has your journey with this grief in the book and kind of, coming around to this healing, how does that affect the way you parent and the way you teach your kids about grief?
Oh, that's such a beautiful question. It's made me very present in the way that I parent. And Travis.
And transparent and open.
Yeah. Yes. We, when we had kids, I think I always knew that I wanted to do the conscious parenting tactic.
Yeah.
This is where we're super present with them. And so even after my mom passed, it made me even that much more and really appreciate the simple moments that I have with my kids. And if they ever ask me, do you want to play, mommy? Or do you want to do this? I really try to say yes and not like, oh, I will in a little bit after I'm done with this, like to stop what I'm doing and really give them my presence. Does that happen all the time? No. But I think that, when you're faced with not losing someone, but someone that you love passing, you realize how precious time is, right? It is so precious.
And I also think, Jenny and I, we've never had, or sorry, I should say we've had babysitters, but we really never had nannies. But nannies, in my experience, play such a beautiful role that a lot of times they are, with the exception of having that, baby born through you or adopted to you, or however, you brought in, like you very much are the parental figure. And I don't think that nannies get enough credit. But you can see it with the kids when they look up at their nanny, when they fall and they're hurt and who do they reach up for? And a lot of times they reach up for the nanny because they feel connected and loved and held and seen and all these different things. And the reason I bring that up is because one, your viewership, I think that they would relate to that. But Jenny's mom to our kids was Gigi, and she made the very intentional, just the try. She just wanted to be there, and she was always there. Like if we ever had a nanny, it was Jenny's mom. Like she absolutely loved being around these kids. She loved that they knew her. She loved that they really they would ask for her, and she would make them laugh, and it was just so beautiful to see our kids have a relationship with their grandparents and with other people that we love deeply. And in my childhood, I didn't really have that. Like I loved my grandparents, but they weren't really there a lot for many reasons. But I knew that when I had kids, I wanted to change that. And so my parents are very much a part of my kids' lives. Jenny's parents are very much a part of their lives. Even now that Gigi has passed, like we talk about her almost daily. That there's a ladybug that will fly and the girls will be like, there's Gigi's here. And I just love that they keep her in spirit and in that memory all the time. And that's they have love for us as a parent, but Gigi was very much that she had that Gigi, that mama bear energy, but she also had that nanny energy where she just loved these kids unconditionally. And it's just so beautiful to see our kids have this relationship with somebody even after death. So as far as your question goes of like, how are we doing it from our parents and to our kids is we are being transparent. We are talking about death, and like this book is as helpful for us with our kids as we hope that it could be for other parents and other nannies and their kid, because death is a hard thing. It really is a hard thing. And this book can make it a little less hard.
And Travis and I talked too, like, it's just planting a seed too, right? Like, we don't have to be like, sit down and like, okay, we're going to talk about death and we're going to read this book, right? You're just reading the book, and then subconsciously they're getting the message that, oh my gosh, like if I look outside and go on a walk and I see a bluebird flying high, like that could be maybe, like
Totally.
a friend in another city, but like it doesn't have to be this like, okay, on the nose conversation
Right.
about death. And so that's another thing that I think is really beautiful, is that you just open it and you read it, and it's just planting little seeds that like everything is beautiful and it's all going to be okay. I mean, not everything is beautiful all the time, but
Yeah, and anybody that has kids or watches over kids knows that their minds are like sponges. They can see one obscure thing from months and months and months ago and bring it up and remember that time when this, and you're just like, oh my gosh, you remember that? That is wild. So what if we filled our kids with this little seed of like, hey, like death is a thing. It's beautiful. Let's talk about it. Let's not hide from it. And here's how we think about death. Here's, a little butterfly or a ladybug or a bluebird or just a feeling sometimes that you just feel held, and you plant those seeds, and then one day later on, whenever they do have those grieving feelings, they don't go to the sad, dark corner where they cut themselves off. You just hope that you give them the tools to get through those hard moments.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Did that answer?
So well, in such an incredible way. That's like a parenting. I also want to know, like, what have your kids thought about the process? I mean, obviously they've grown up. Travis, you've been an artist since before the kids were born. And it's like, and Jenny, I don't know as much about your history. I know you're an actress, but, this is, a new, writing a children's book is a totally new form of art. What has it been like your kids, you already said you shared the memo with them, they were some of your earliest collaborators and, feedback people. What has it been like for them to watch you do this? And, have you seen them, have go on their own creative journeys? How does creativity and just, the way you're modeling, using your gifts creatively, that was a weird way to say that word, creatively.
I like that. Yeah.
How does that, infuse into your kids and your parenting life as well?
Gosh, Reagan, thank you. Because I had this moment where I was like, if I just have this book in my hand, like that's enough. Having my kids see me have an idea and then bring it to life.
Pursue it. Yeah.
Is all I want to give them, to show them, to inspire them, to know, to not be fearful of failure, right? Because I feel like so many people live in that failure that they don't even try anything because they're scared. So I'm so grateful that I actually had the courage to take an idea and follow through with it, because I do want to inspire them to reach their full potential, and whatever that is. If they have a passion that they know that they can go for it, I will support them 100%, just like they have supported me. My second child, Kaya, I think she's my biggest supporter. I think they all support me, but you could just see in her eyes, we did like a little luncheon where I spoke and signed some books, but she was just so proud of me, and you could just see it like hugging me and asking if I needed any help with anything, And I really,
and as like the line, like Jenny was signing some books. It was a charity called Together at Peace, which is a beautiful organization.
Yes.
If anybody gets a chance to check it out, But they, Jenny spoke, we played the song, and there was a line of people that wanted to get the book signed by Jenny, and Kaya was just like,
handing out the bookmarks that went with every
yeah,
book.
and like right next to Jenny the whole time, just watching her. And
Like, yeah, that's my mom.
yeah, she was
It's
so
really sweet.
so sweet. And I think that's like in our house, obviously, you know, Jenny is a dancer. She was an actress. She does yoga, which is like, you know, body creative, you know, flow.
Mhm.
She's now authoring. She's written songs. Like, I come from a world of like, I was a musician and I was, you know, I didn't want to go to college. I wanted to be the lead singer of a band, which to most people sounds like an insane idea. It might sound insane for Jenny to be like, I'm going to be a dancer and go be an actress in LA, and then I'm going to write a book. Like, you're like, okay. I think a lot of people sadly might have parents or guardians or nannies or that are like, okay, but college
this,
and
college,
this and
gonna
this
be
and there's
fine.
like a very social norm thing of how you're supposed to go. So, but in our house, you have the lead singer and songwriter of a band, and you have an actress, author, writer, and the other partner, and that's what our kids are. That's what lives in our house. There's every music instrument in our house. There's every paintbrush, crayon, marker, you know, notebook. Some are writing little stories. Like our 6-year-old she's learning how to read and write, and she's writing these like really funny stories. She's like, this is my nighttime story, and this is my morning story because it's a little funny because it talks about, you know, and they all have these
Oh man.
things. They go to bed, they're reading, and it's just, you know, I'm a firm believer that when you're with kids, because their minds are like sponges, when they see you do something that clocks for them, like that registers, and so when they see Jenny doodle in her little owl journal and make these drawings, and then, you know, make this little voice memo and read her book, and then, you know, it felt like it happened so fast and took so many years at the same time, but like to actually hold this physical thing and look at it and see the words, and it's so thoughtful and intentional, and then to see that she did that because she had this beautiful connection with her mom, and to see that I write songs and I work on them, and the kids, this is my studio, and the kids sit on the couch and watch me do what I do. They are just this. It would be impossible for them to not be inspired in some way to do something, and we see it literally every single day. Like yesterday we were spray painting little art projects because they wanted to that all their names start with K, so they wanted to put, you know, K on their doors, and they wanted different colors, and we're learning how to do that, and it's every day it's something new that has something to do with creative. Now, the other side of the coin, we might not be doing the English and math and science and history that well, but
Academics is not our forte, but you know what? They're going to be
very
kind
creative.
and compassionate,
Exactly.
and creative. And, you know, I also want to say that my most important job is being a mom. And so I hope that they, you know, see that first and foremost is that, like, right? Like, if we choose to have a child into this world, especially these days, that we should have the intention of raising them in a way that is the highest consciousness so that they can change the world for the better. And that's what we need more now than ever, you know? And so that's like my most important job. And I was praying to God to use me in a bigger way, you know? And so I'm grateful that this idea came to me and that I was able to follow through with it so they could see that as well. But I want them to know too, if they decided to have children and wanted to be a mom and stay at home, like, that is a very important job as well. Just wanted to say that. I don't know why, but
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but it's so beautiful that they've been able to see you do both.
yeah,
And be this intentional mother and follow your dreams and be a dancer and be and be an intentional father and be a lead singer of a band, and, you know, and that, you know, we're not limited, and that's gonna, you know, have such a beautiful mindset for your kids growing up that they can do anything as well.
I really, you know, I don't think that we would be able to do this if our kids weren't like also giving us the kindness and the loving and the service and the energy that they have. We've just been so blessed to have, just such a beautiful family connection.
There are challenges.
Yeah, of course. but with this book, for example, like since Jenny met me, I was on tour, I was putting out records, and she supported me every single day from the moment we met. She wanted me to continue to live my dreams. She saw the passion and the conviction and everything that she saw and that she believed in, and she really believed in me to go and to continue doing it. And a lot of the times that meant me leaving home and leaving her with 4 kids or 3 kids or 2 kids, and selfishly, yeah, it was tough on me, but at the same time, I was still able to do this. And then she at times would get in this thing of like, man, I'm just a mom. Like, is that not enough? And then she overcame that. I was like, oh my God, I get to be a mom. Like, what a beautiful thing. Now that she has this book, like, I'm personally and maybe even selfishly so excited to, okay, like go on tour, go
share her with the world, right?
Yeah, go on tour, go do this thing, and let me support you in the way that you've supported me all these years. And it's such a special honor that I have right now to just to put my foot in the other shoe, and now I get to
be the stay-at-home dad.
Yeah, honestly, like I would do that in a heartbeat. I think me being a dad is the most important job that I'll ever have in my life. And I couldn't do that without, my amazing wife. And I'm very excited for this book because I see, there are challenges again, yes, but I see the light that it can bring to so many people. And I know from my experience when I've put out music that it just really touched somebody and really been like, hey, you meet somebody and they're like, hey, I just want to let you know that like this song got me through a really hard time. This song, saved my life. This song was everything to me. When you hear that, you're like, oh my God, I feel almost responsible. I need to keep doing this so that I can help people. And I know that those exact words are going to come and be said to Jenny instead of me. And it's going to just inspire her to just keep doing this thing. And I love that I'm going to just be able to support you.
Thank you. That's very sweet.
That was very sweet. I love it. Yeah, and that's what the joy that you guys exude as a couple. And I think just like, like that, I was a huge fan of high school, like, and your music, even if that same, like, it doesn't shy away from hard topics, but it is joyful and hopeful, both in the sound of it and in the content of it. Like, it has always been something that I literally, like I said, I've been sharing it with my son the past few weeks. And I just feel like I've been listening, like, so it's just happy. It's just beautiful, happy, joy-lifting music. So, and that is exactly what is going to come from this book as well. So,
wait for his new music. It's fire. Oh, he's got some stuff going on. Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Oh, I can't wait. Amazing. I feel like we have, I had so many questions, and I was looking through them. I'm like, we really talked about all of these things without even having to ask the questions. So I love it.
That's the best podcast.
I know, right? It's perfect. So before we wrap up, let us know a little bit. When does the book come out? Where is the best place to get it? I assume for you, but I also assume it's going to be at every bookstore because it's so amazing. I hope. But so we'll probably connect with you we'll be and
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. My website is jennyrobinsonclark.com, and you can sign up for a newsletter which will send out, and it'll give you information on what we have coming up. The book comes out on March 17th, 2026, so just around the corner. And my Instagram is Jenny Robinson Clark, where I'll post some more info about the book. But yes, I'm hoping for it to get into as many indie bookstores as possible because I love to support them, But you can, yes.
And schools and libraries and hospitals and grief.
Absolutely. I was saying, I know my local bookstore, they actually stock our books that we have too. I'm going to be taking it down, making sure that they get it stocked in their bookstore.
Yeah.
Greg, perfectly. Thank you for your support. Gosh, it's so kind.
Orders. Thank you guys for being here. It's been so amazing.
Thank
you.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. No, I was just going to say,
good.
I think, the book can be pre-ordered now from your website, maybe even from Amazon, but it's kind of available where anybody gets their books. And we're just, so grateful to anybody that takes it the next step. It's one thing to listen to a podcast. Thank you to everybody that listened. It's another thing to go and actively pursue and look for this book. And it's another thing to click on, the pre-order or to the buy. So, I just feel very grateful for everybody.
Absolutely. We'll make sure we get all the links in the show notes and everything. So that way it's easy for people to find. And can't wait for everybody to read the book.
Thank you, Reagan.
Hey.
Dragonflies they hover by, waiting till I catch their eye. Rainbows form without a storm, showing up now as I mourn. Are you here? Are you here? Are you here? Did you hear my prayer? Are you in everything and everywhere? I am here, I heard your prayer. I am in everything and everywhere. An owl who's up in a tree, reminding me that you are free. See a deer just laying still, then I start to get the chills. Are you here? Are you here? Are you here? Did you hear my prayer? Are you in everything and everywhere? I am here, I heard your prayer. I am in everything and everywhere. Remember, dear, I love you deeper than the deepest thing. Remember, dear, I love you higher than the highest high. Remember, dear, I love you longer than the longest gone. Remember, dear, I love you. I do. A butterfly waves closely by, and I can't help but start to cry. Bluebird flying in the sky, as I sit and wonder why. Are you here? Are you here? Are you here? Did you hear my prayer? Are you in everything and everywhere? I am here, I heard your prayer. I am in everything and everywhere. I am in everything. I am in everything. I am in everything and everywhere. I am in everything. I am in everything. I am in everything and everywhere. As the light shines on my face, you begin to fill this space in my heart and all I do. Hope my love you feel it too. You are here. You are here.
And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your day with us.
We'd love to stay connected. You can find all of our past episodes and summit sessions on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast fix.
For the inside scoop on the latest job opportunities and community stories, you can always find us at adventurenannies.com or come say hi on Instagram, Facebook, or Blue Sky.
If you loved this episode, we'd be over the moon if you'd leave us a review. It's a huge help in getting the word out to other folks.
And if you hated this episode, well, sorry. It couldn't have been that bad if you made it this far, right?
We'll catch you next time.